5-alarm fire right now with this trans stuff. And it's not just the babies and the drag shows. It is children in schools being groomed to cut off body parts, and teachers doing it behind parents' backs, leading to attempted unaliving attempts by students. One in particular in Florida tried to, off herself twice at school, and they didn't tell her parents. Let's think about how we got here to this moment. Yes, where grown men are half naked, twerking in front of toddlers and babies. Let's talk about how we actually got here. We got here by ignoring the culture. We got here by being too good and caring more about the economy than we did about the culture. And now we're here in the, eighth circle of hell, because conservatives couldn't bother themselves to care about the culture. And they believed the people who said, this is not a winning issue. Get off of this issue. And so now we're here. This is now what's happening. But let's read this National Review article. Republicans can learn from victory of Florida's parental rights bill. This was written by Nate Hochman in 2022 last March. American voters favor Florida's new parental rights in education, dishonestly dubbed the Don't Say Gay law by progressive opponents by a margin of 16 points, according to a new Politico Morning Consult poll. The survey showed that 51% of registered voters approve of the legislation, which bars public schools from teaching sexual orientation and gender identity to students in kindergarten through third grade, while only 35% opposed it. And by the way, that was registered voters, not registered Republican voters, all registered voters, including Democrats. All right, now I haven't heard this yet. This is the first time I'm going to hear it. So let's play by Michael Knowles at CPAC, making everyone's underwear get into a twist.
Customs of so many people. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too. And if it's false, then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people. If it is false, then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology at every level. If transgenderism is false.
Okay, I don't see what the big deal is here. Saying stop legitimizing this. Don't put these people in charge of our health departments because they're clearly unwell. I don't think he's saying trans won't exist or shouldn't exist, but it shouldn't be indulged. They're taking kids from parents over this. They're getting CPS involved. They are they're getting judges to take kids away from parents. You guys know about the Jeff Younger case? Parents are losing their rights all over the place. Passed the nation's first law limiting drag shows. Here's the status of anti-drag bills across the U.S. This was published yesterday. Here's the law. Drag shows have become the latest target of conservative criticism as a slew of other anti-drag bills have been introduced. I call them anti-grooming bills. In at least 14 other states. That's because it's a winning issue. Children under 15 years old would be subject to at least 10 years in prison. Yes. And forced to register as sex offenders. Yeah, you should be. That's exactly what should happen to you. People who allow minors to view drag shows or even enter a location where one is happening would also be punished. Well, good. Good. And look, Gays Against Groomers was directly involved with this legislation. Way to go, Jamie. In January, Arkansas State Senator Gary Stubblefield first introduced Senate Bill 43 with explicit language prohibiting drag shows from being performed on public property around minors. It's amazing that we have to tell people this. I'm just reeling. I'm reeling from the stupidity of it all. Idaho. Idaho legislators introduce a bill to ban drag in public spaces on February 27th. Great. Does any movements with accessories that exaggerate sexual acts? Good. They should. That bill is headed to the House State Affairs Committee for a hearing, so it hasn't passed yet. Kansas. Senate Bill 149 was introduced and referred to the committee in early February. The measure would expand the crime of promoting obscenity to include performing drag shows in front of minors. They define drag when someone displays a gender identity different from the gender they were assigned at birth and sings, lip syncs, dances, or otherwise performs. Good. Shut it all down. Kentucky. The Kentucky state legislature voted to advance their anti-groomer bill. The provision would prohibit drag performances from taking place on public property or in places where they could be seen by children. Good. Let's recap. How many states have bills that are on the books that are going through right now? Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri. In Missouri, legislators introduced House Bill 1364 on March 1st. The bill would criminalize engaging, organizing, or authorizing the viewing of an adult cabaret performance on public property, which includes drag shows. The provision would also make it an offense to organize or authorize a drag queen story hour or any other event where drag queen engages in other learning activities with minor children present. Oh, good. Because the drag queen story hour is ridiculous. All right, Montana, Nebraska, all of these are going to limit drag performances in front of children. Our Republican caucus in Montana believes strongly that there is no such thing as a family-friendly drag show, said Representative Braxton Mitchell. Yeah, that's right. It's not. The bill was modified to add drag to the list of sexually oriented acts. Businesses hosting drag performances would be forbidden from permitting people under the age of 18 inside. Doesn't say. Oklahoma voted February 23 to advance their bill, anti-groomer bill, House Bill 2186. The bill would charge violators with felony charges up to $20,000 and up to 2 years in jail. Okay. South Carolina, Senate Bill 585 would prohibit adult cabaret on public property. Yep. Good. Texas is considering 4 bills that would target drag shows. This could mean coffee shops or bookstores that host drag events would have to consider between getting additional licensing and being subject to different taxes. Well, why should it be any different than if you wanted female strippers to perform in your coffee shop? Could you do that? Look at how much winning. West Virginia. In West Virginia, legislators introduced Senate Bill 253, which would criminalize engaging in an adult cabaret performance that is on public property or if it's performed in a place where it could be viewed by a person who is a minor. Yeah. Look at this. This one, if you're convicted, you could be fined up to $25,000 or face up to 5 years in a state correctional facility. Good. They should. This is what it means. This is what it looks like to win the chemical castration of children in Oklahoma. This is the thing we were after. This is what we wanted from the beginning. And dang it, they did it.
Jim Olson is the bill's co-author.
We should not be conducting unproven experiments on our young people. At the very least, this can wait till they're 18 years old.
House Democrats calling it an attack on Oklahomans and their health care. State Rep. Mauree Turner, who identifies as non-binary, one of the 18 no votes.
That's saying that trans communities, that our trans community is not welcome in Oklahoma. And I don't know about the people on this floor, but I know that I came up here and I do the work that I do because no Oklahoman is replaceable.
Dozens gathered outside the chamber following the vote, protesting the bill's passage.
You make me sick, all of you!
Demonstrators were loud, but mostly peaceful. However, Reese Gorman with independent outlet The Frontier did capture this altercation between a state trooper and a trans rights activist after they spread water on a lawmaker who voted for the bill. That activist eventually arrested for assault and possibly battery on an officer for slapping the trooper. House Bill 2177 passed out of the House with a vote of 80 to 18.
80 to 18!
And with it passing now heads across
80 to 18, you guys. Like, what? Why would we call off the dogs at this point? Like, do you see how we're winning? The winning is everywhere. It's so much winning. I'm almost tired of winning. Look at the winning.